Welcome. I'm Bill Moore, and I'm here to introduce a show called History for My Grandchildren. I'm an educator, retired educator of 32 years. I've been a historian all my life. I've been interested not only in the history of the area, but history in general. And I'm here to talk about things that I want my grandchildren to know, and I want everyone to know, things of local interest and of national interest. And I hope you'll tune in every week to watch History for My Grandchildren. Today's show, our topic is going to be the Jersey Devil, in search of the legends, the attempt to explain what, if anything, there is there or out there. I hope you'll listen as we cover facts about the Jersey Devil. The Jersey Devil has been mentioned for hundreds and hundreds of years, particularly since European settlers have come to the area. But long before European settlers were in the area, the Lenape Indians, who were the Indians that the Europeans met when they came, referred to the area as Poquessing. Now, interestingly enough, Poquessing means area of the dragon or place of the dragon. The Swedes, who were among the earliest settlers to this area, referred to the area as Drake Kill. Drake is their word for dragon. Kill is an arm of the sea, or a very much like a fjord. Okay? Did the Swedes pick up from the Lenape the fact that it was place of the dragon? Did the Lenape have an earlier memory? Was it an ancestral memory going back to the time of the first humanoids? Did they encounter dragons, or the ancestors, or the way back pre-ancestors of the Lenape? It's just a thought. Now, the modern incarnation of the Jersey Devil goes way back to 1735. The place is Burlington. It's a late night, probably a winter night, and we have Mother Leeds, Deborah Leeds, about to give birth to her 13th child. Yes, that's right, 13th child. We look at the references, and I don't think that this was a very well-to-do household. The birth may have been a hard one. Midwives were present. And the story goes that upon the appearance of this 13th child, one version has Mother Leeds cursing the child because it is her 13th, probably a hard birth, maybe a difficult pregnancy. You have somebody with 13 children, she's getting up in years. The other version has the fact that the baby was born normal, the baby changed right in front of the midwife's eyes and became a creature, a horrible creature. One version even has the then Jersey Devil killing the midwife and flying up the chimney. And from here, we go into the various sightings of the Jersey Devil. The Jersey Devil was sighted by a prominent American in the early years of the 1800s, the early 19th century. Stephen Decatur, an American naval hero, fought the Barbary Pirates back when Thomas Jefferson was president. Stephen Decatur was in South Jersey at Hanover Furnace or Hanover Forge to inspect cannonballs for the U.S. Navy. They saw a flying apparition. Stephen Decatur actually directed cannon fire at this flying apparition with no apparent effect. In the 1840s, there were a lot of sightings of tracks. There were livestock that were killed, and generally more and more sightings of the Jersey Devil. Back before that, in 1820, another prominent European who became an American for a number of years was Joseph Bonaparte. That's right, Napoleon's brother. Joseph Bonaparte lived in Bordentown at Point Breeze. While hunting on his estate, which covered considerable area, he claimed to have seen the Jersey Devil. Okay? So we don't have, these aren't isolated reports of people who left taverns late at night and thought they saw something, or people that were trying to garner fame. These were prominent Americans. These were people who had no reason to concoct stories. Perhaps the most famous series of sightings takes us up to the year 1909. And it was the winter of 1909, specifically the week of January 16th to the 23rd. Apparently a cold week. There was snow on the ground. There were numerous newspaper articles, and you can still look up those newspaper articles from all over the state. There were tracks in the snow, there were sightings. Well over 1,000 people claimed to have seen something, the Jersey Devil. And these, again, weren't just ordinary people. They were mayors, they were policemen, they were firemen. They weren't isolated instances. In many cases, it was seen simultaneously by quite a few people. In Burlington, one newspaper article, and I find it quite interesting because the article reads, "The wife of William Moore." Now remember, we're looking back at a time when women didn't have the prominence that they have today. The wife of William Moore saw the Jersey Devil and also saw its tracks. Well, interestingly enough, the wife of William Moore was my grandmother. And I can remember as a child not hearing a lot about the Jersey Devil, but hearing, yes, your grandmother saw the Jersey Devil. Well, that was put aside for many, many years, and when I did the research on the Jersey Devil, I came across that article, and it corroborated something that had been talked about in the family for many years. In Camden and Bristol, police shot at the Jersey Devil. And this is interesting for two reasons. One, you have officials who are charged with keeping the peace, protecting the populace. They felt threatened enough to shoot at it. The other reason it's interesting because this is evidence of the Jersey Devil being out of state, across the river, if you will, because Bristol is in Pennsylvania. In Hamilton, bloodhounds were set on the tracks of the Jersey Devil. They refused to follow the track. Does that tell you anything? Okay. In Haddon Heights, the Jersey Devil, or what people called the Jersey Devil, terrorized a trolley car full of passengers before flying away. And it was described then as a large flying kangaroo. In Burlington, it ran across the tracks in front of another trolley car, and a trolley car load of people saw it. In Camden, it is reputed to have tried to eat a dog, and a woman beat at it with a broomstick, and the Jersey Devil flew away. Farther south, in Bridgeton and Millville, chickens and other livestock were being slaughtered. It looks like, or sounds like, the Jersey Devil had a penchant for chicken, because chickens paid the price. The sightings continued right up into our modern times, into our era. But that 1909 spate of sightings was the most. Okay, some people would say, was it a case of mass hysteria? Well, yes, maybe. But let's look at it from being all over the state, from being hundreds, probably thousands of people, and from groups of people seeing something at the same time. Interestingly enough, as we move into the 20th century, back in 1960, a prominent local, Harry Hunt, who was the owner of Hunt Brothers Circus, and many of you will remember that their winter quarters was in Florence, New Jersey, offered $100,000 for its capture. Well, nothing ever came of that. And sometime later in the 60s, either the fall of 63 or the fall of 64, William Moore III had a sighting in what we call Daltey's Woods, and that's up in Burlington Township. The story goes that William Moore and his girlfriend were out on a date. He had a friend, a very good friend, Gary Lindaberry, and he was out on a date with his girlfriend. And they met at one of the fast food restaurants. I believe it was McDonald's. And Gary came in and he said, Bill, he said, we were up in Daltey's. We saw something. I don't know what it was. I said, Gary, take your girlfriend home. I'll take my then girlfriend. She's been my wife for the last 50 years. I'll meet you. Gary and I went up there. Yes, William Moore III is me. We walked through the woods, and I knew that area very well because I hunted that area. I also played there as a child. My father took me there as a young boy. It was a place to enjoy the outdoors. Woods and fields, mostly abandoned farmland. It was dark, but it wasn't a pitch black night, so as your eyes adjusted, you could see. As we walked around in the area where Gary and his girlfriend had been, I saw something up ahead. It was low. It couldn't have been more than 3 or 4 feet high. It seemed to be crouched over. As I approached it, it started to run away. At least I think it was a run. I couldn't see it clearly. In those days, I was considerably faster than I am today, and I ran after it. And it went faster and faster and faster, and then to my amazement, it rose up in the air. Yes, it was flying, and it disappeared through the trees. I could hear the racket it made as what I took were wings were beating against trees and bushes. I saw something that night. There is no rational explanation for it, but I saw it. Okay? Now, in modern times, various scholars have attempted to come up with some idea, what is it that people have seen? Some rational explanation of the origin. And here's where a Revolutionary War American patriot comes into the picture. And his name is Ben Franklin. Ben Franklin, about the time of the appearance of the Jersey Devil in the 1730s, the mid-1700s, was in a war of words with a rival of his, the Leeds family. Yes, the same Leeds family that Mother Leeds belonged to, that Leeds Point is named for down at the shore. The Leeds family, for many years, had published an almanac. Well, in the early 1730s, I believe about 1732, Ben Franklin published an almanac. So we had two rival publishers, okay? But it became more than that. And in those days, accusations were thrown back and forth with pamphlets and things like that. And Ben Franklin was pretty good with words, being the diplomat that he later became, being the publisher that he became, being the writer that he became. And the Leeds family lost the War of Words. And the War of Words was particularly directed at Daniel Leeds and his son Titan. It's interestingly enough that the birth of the Jersey Devil in the mid-1730s coincides with the death of Titan Leeds, who was Daniel Leeds' son. Who were these Leeds? Well, Daniel Leeds came to the New World in 1677 to Burlington on the ship Shield. Daniel Leeds was a Quaker. He had been married or would be married 4 different times, for what that's worth. By 1682, he had been elected to the Assembly, the West Jersey Assembly, and by 1690, we're now going to break for a commercial. I'll be right back at the end of the commercial to pick up our story.
Sub some sizzle. This is the way. The way it's always been. The way it always should be. way it always will be. Because that's just the way it's supposed to be. Jersey Mike's. Be a sub above.
Simply Gents, located in Marlton, New Jersey, takes care of all your grooming needs, including haircuts, straight razor shaves, massages, facial, manicures, pedicures, and waxing. To find more information or book an appointment, visit us online at www.simplygents.com. The secret weapon of a well-groomed man, Simply Gents.
If you haven't been to Speed Raceway, what are you waiting for? You want to live fast? You want to make every second count? Then grab the family. Round up the guys. Speed Raceway is 100,000 square feet of excitement, whether you're a kid or a kid at heart. Speed Raceway is the place for endless fun all summer long. Log on to speedraceway.com or just get here now.
When it's time for Jersey Mike's to make a really great sub, this is what we do. It's what we've been doing. It's what we've always done. It's what we'll always do. So what are you doing? Jersey Mike's. Be a sub above.
Today's show was brought to you by Alicia Kelly of White Horse RV Center in Williamstown, New Jersey. Alicia is your RV expert. Contact Alicia at alicia@whitehorserv.com or give her a call at 856-262-1717, extension 203. When you think of RV, think Alicia Kelly.
Today's show has been sponsored by Farmers Insurance in Voorhees, New Jersey. To protect your assets and the people you love, call Mike Skoranek, your local Farmers Insurance agent, at 856-336-2553.
We are farmers. Bum, ba-dum, bum, 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 bum.
We're back with History for My Grandchildren, and we're talking about the Jersey Devil. Back to Daniel Leeds, he became Surveyor General of West Jersey, and I don't know whether you would call this a conflict of interest or not, but he surveyed the land that became Leeds Point, and he acquired that land, and this was where he was going to set up, where he set up the country seat for the Leeds family. Okay. About this time, he also broke with the Quakers. He became an Anglican, and he was accused by the Burlington Meeting House of being evil. A 1700 pamphlet accused him of working for the devil. Okay. About 1728, Titan Leeds, his son, redesigned the masthead or the title page of their almanac, and on there was 3 figures on a shield. They were dragon-like, they had ferocious-looking faces, they had clawed feet, and they had bat-like wings. Sounds pretty much like our modern conception of the Jersey Devil. These were known as wyverns in Norse mythology, but very, very reminiscent of what would later become the description of the Jersey Devil. Daniel Leeds also sided with the royal governor, and he was against Quakerism. So by this time, he had angered the Quaker population, he had angered the other population, and the Leeds family were referred to as being political and religious monsters. Now this theory has been given to us by a man by the name of Brian Regal, who was a professor at Kean University. However, I'd like to go a step further and remind people that the New Jersey Pinelands are the largest privately owned tract east of the Mississippi River. Could there be a remnant population? Now, zoologists classify something like the Jersey Devil as a cryptid. which refers to a legendary figure. But could there be some remnant population? Some basis for all these legends must be some basis in truth. Okay? Some basis in truth. One legend has it that before all wars, the Jersey Devil is sighted. And another says that if the Jersey Devil is seen at the shore, there'll be a shipwreck. And we all want to think there's something out there. Things that scream and go bump in the night are fun for all, young and old. Maybe, just maybe, there's no scientific or historical explanation that fits at this time. Do we have our very own Sasquatch? As a parting note, black bears have returned to the pines. Maybe they never left. And there's credible evidence for the return of the eastern panther. Yes, that's the mountain lion, that's the big cat. They've been spotted in New Jersey, been spotted in the pines. Why couldn't there be something else? Why couldn't there be a Jersey Devil or some yet unknown, unclassified creature? Descriptions have it having a terrible scream. Panthers sometimes make a pretty loud scream. Descriptions have it cloven hoofs, bat-like wings. And yes, we can maybe lay it off to certain animals that we know of, but taken together, must there not be something there? But isn't it nice to know that we have our very own? And Leeds Point is still there. The ruins of the Daniel Leeds house is still at Leeds Point. On October 15th, we'll be leading a Jersey Devil hunt in search of the Jersey Devil. And on October 28th, I'll be at the library in North Jersey giving a talk on the Jersey Devil. The Jersey Devil, something I wanted my grandchildren to know about, but something I want to try to come up with some type of a rational explanation, some type of an explanation that will fit into scientific parameters, having taught science for many years. But again, maybe those scientific parameters are not there. Maybe this goes beyond science. Maybe this is in a realm that we're not aware of yet, or that we can't possibly put it in one place. Again, thanks for listening. In the coming weeks, I'm going to talk about many aspects of local history, also some aspects of national history. We'll be talking about Beverly, the other crossing, which was made on that same night in 1776 when Washington crossed at Trenton. We're going to talk about Burlington County's own in the Civil War, the 23rd New Jersey, the Jersey Yahoos. We're going to talk about a rowing club on the Delaware River, the Oneida Boat Club. We're going to talk about Emilio Carranza, Mexico's Lindbergh, and the tragedy that occurred in the Pines that July of 1928. Hopefully, it'll be history that my grandchildren will be interested in and history that they'll remember. We need to bring these things to the forefront so that we continue our heritage, our American ideas, and our American way of life.